Ah, Miss Boades, I thought that was you. Quite a gathering.
Mr. Cooper?
I think I heard you mention at school earlier this week you plan to attend tonight. Are you enjoying the exhibit?
No, Mr. Cooper, I am not. This is not art. Look at this. Do you not think that any fool could cover a canvas with red paint? He calls it a dancing woman. It's pointless. There's no feeling, there's no sense of beauty, there's no craft. You could do as much, Mr. Cooper, and you are certainly no artist. The Harvard students we teach could do as much. I don't even know why I've come. Then I expected as much.
I'm glad at least we've run into one another.
I was about to leave.
Yes, well, it was good seeing you out, Miss Boades.
I wouldn't mind visiting with you a moment, Mr. Cooper.
Ah, I'm pleased for your company. Not, Miss Boades?
No, thank you, Mr. Cooper. I've already had my dinner this evening, and even if I hadn't, I don't like nuts. I would have thought you are aware of that, Mr. Cooper. I'm not able to eat nuts.
Sorry, I wasn't thinking, Miss Boades.
Sorry for what? That I don't like nuts? Why would you care if I don't like nuts?
Well,
I didn't see you at lunch today.
Oh, no, I had a meeting with the school's principal, Mr. Penley.
I certainly know whom is the principal of our school, Mr. Cooper, after teaching there nearly 30 years. Would you not think so, Mr. Cooper?
Sorry,
Can I assume you've turned the names in?
Yes, only Wilson was there.
Wilson?
Teaching has changed.
Yes, I suppose it has. Doesn't everything eventually? Unfortunately, not always for the good.
Lately, I've thought about leaving, only I don't really know anything other than maths.
It's all either of us have done. 29 years I've taught English. I suppose it might have meant something at one time.
Not now.
No, not now. Like this garbage someone calls art. It's ugly, ugly art. A vulgar display. Offensive to people like the two of us, Mr. Cooper. The morality of society has fallen. Of course, I'm no longer shocked at the blatant display of crap I'm forced to see. You don't approve of this, do you, Mr. Cooper?
Oh, certainly not.
I thank the Almighty God in my classroom I can still stand for the values that have made, at one time, England great. Some people appreciate that, Mr. Cooper. A man like Wilson can't. He's no different than these paintings. Crap.
I would never have considered leaving before Wilson came to teach. He's ruined it for me.
You needn't worry about Wilson. He won't bother us here.
No, I suppose not.
Only his friend, that Lohman girl, teaches art.
There were words between Wilson and me this afternoon.
I'm not surprised.
He said I'd become a trifling nuisance, a quibbling old woman everyone heard.
Why do you listen to him? He only says these things to upset you.
I had the appointment to see the principal and Wilson was there.
Leave the man alone. I've told you that.
I could hardly avoid him. He sat next to me in the office and there were only 2 chairs besides the principal's and I certainly wasn't going to sit in Mr. Penley's lap now, was I?
Well, excuse me, Mr. Cooper.
I did not once look at him. I sat as if he were not in the room.
I hope you still gave the principal the list.
Oh, yes. The names, dates and times. of every student we've observed. Drugs, cheating, theft. Well, I had all the names.
We've done our duty.
Wilson threatened to destroy the list. Wilson wanted to know what proof we had.
All anyone has to do is open his eyes and see the type of student they are. The type of household. So-called parents jumping from one bedroom to another. There's no respect. None. That's all the proof anyone needs. Someone has to bring order back. It's not going to be Wilson.
I told Mr. Pendy that.
Let him destroy the list. We've got copies.
I threatened turning their names over to the school board. That quite took care of the matter. I have friends there, you know.
Whether we can make a difference or not, we must do what is right.
Sorry, I shouldn't burden you with my problems.
I'm glad you feel you can confide in me.
You're a great comfort, Miss Boades. There are so few people with whom, well, I find myself comfortable in their company. I suppose I should be getting along. It's getting late and I've seen all I care to hear.
I wanted to ask if you'd care to go with me to the community choir's recital this Wednesday.
Wednesday, I suppose I could.
At 7.
We might have dinner afterwards.
If you'd like. I was going to ask if you thought you'd like to try Chinese after the performance, or we could do Italian again. It won't matter to me.
Chinese would be fine.
If you prefer Italian.
No, Chinese is fine. I do enjoy Chinese food as much as Italian, and we did have Italian last year.
Oh my!
I beg your pardon?
I had the oddest thought. Wilson was making fun of us and I kicked him. How very strange.
Kicked him?
Yes. And you know where.
I wonder what Wilson would have thought of that.
Who would care?
Not me.
Monday, he was standing in the doorway to his class. You know how he smiles at the girls. That Lohman woman walked by.
Miss Lohman.
He watched her. I could see how she walked for him. All the students could see.
You should kick them both. That would show them.
Her too, yes.
You've seen what she wears. Last week, I said something to the principal. I told him some of the students had commented on her hem length.
I'd like to know what Miss Lohman thinks she has that would make anyone be the least interested in.
She ridicules everything we try to do.
I'd like to pull her hair out the way she acts. This morning, I was behind her on the stairway and I thought if I just nudged her.
On the stairs?
Well, not from the top of the stairway, of course. She said something to one of those boys always around her. They were all laughing. I thought it was such an ugly laugh.
She manages to impress a 16-year-old with her insipid wit like Wilson with those girls.
I thought a grip on the rail and a little shove and down she'd go. No one would accuse me. It's happened before. They'd think it was one of the students pushing again.
Yes.
Wilson was trimming paper last week. I thought, what if I tripped while he was lining up his paper and that lever sliced down over his hand?
I could see his fingers dropping one by one into the bin.
Like dominoes. No one would blame me. It would be an accident.
We should invite Wilson for dinner at your flat. Then, a painful poison.
A slow, painful poison, yes. Miss Lohman too. I want them both here mocking us when it's too late for them.
Imagine Wilson having his ice cream and looking at me, then you. And he finds us out. Then his smug, stupid face plops into his bowl.
And the body?
I'm not sure. Bury him?
Neither of us have back gardens. That wouldn't work at all. You're not thinking it through, Mr. Cooper.
Suppose we could go out to the river and dump him in at Swan Bridge, something like that.
I'd hardly call that stream a river. Certainly nothing to hide one body, much less both of them.
It's only a suggestion.
In small pieces, that would do. A finger here, a toe there.
Some pieces here, some pieces there. It wouldn't have to be done all at once.
We'd have to be careful not to play all our cards at once.
I suppose we could refrigerate parts.
If we had to, there's room in the freezer.
They would think he and the Lohman woman had run off.
Who would ever know?
Only the two of us.
Who'd be so smart then?
Not Wilson.
Don't think of him now.
I wonder sometimes if he's out there, watching us.
If he were, what would it matter? He can't bother us. We're safe.
Yes!
It's gotten late. Mr. Cooper, might you follow me home?
Yes, of course, Miss Boades.
You're such a gentleman, Mr. Cooper. If you promise to behave yourself, I might invite you up for some chocolate cake. Would you like that, Mr. Cooper?
Very, very much.